Head coach of the Liberty Minutemen, Chris Watts, they'll take a trip to Rustburg this week. Coach Watts' team gave Heritage a great game for a half. He talks about that and what to expect from Rustburg when I talked to him this past Sunday. It's Chris Watts on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Always love talking to Chris Watts. He's head coach of the Liberty Minutemen. Minutemen looking to get back at it on Friday night when they take to Rustburg and meet John Berlin and the Red Devils. But, Coach, let's review before we preview. Heritage had come in pretty hot, and you guys hung with them for 3 quarters, and then they kind of got a few touchdowns late that made the score look maybe worse than it was. What did you see against the Pioneers that you liked?
Well, I mean, we competed for 4 quarters. That was what I did like, and we were down 14-0 at half. Excuse me, the kids. We came out and had a nice drive to start the second half, made it 14-7, and then had a chance. At the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, to maybe have a drive to tie it up, and we fumbled a punt. So the things that I didn't like were the fact that we had 6 turnovers. And Heritage is a good football team. Coach Bradley does a great job with those guys, and they don't need any help. And giving them 6 extra possessions is probably not a good idea.
You guys have gotten some early season wins over Blacksburg, Stand River, and Martinsville. Are you impressed with your club overall to this point?
Yeah, I really am. I mean, I feel like we have a good group. The Seminole District is extraordinarily strong this year, and that's on a normal year. The group that we have right now, I'd already be penciling things in, but the way the Seminole District is, it's really tough, and we've shown signs of maturity. We've still got a long way to go. But Friday night was big because it's the first adversity that we've faced, being down at half to a really good football team, well-coached football team. And, last year we may not have fared so well, but we came out and responded, and hopefully we can do the same thing this week. How
good do you feel it was to get off to a good start with the Seminole, like you said, being the locomotive that it is this year, to be 3-0 as opposed to, 1-2 or 0-3?
Oh, it was a must. We didn't talk to the kids in that light, but, as a staff and myself, looking at how strong the district was, I knew that, and the teams that played Blacksburg is a much improved football team this year. They just had a big win over Bottom Friday night. Stand River been in the playoffs the last couple of years, returning a lot of players. Martinsville was in playoffs last year, returning a lot of players and have a lot of speed. So, looking at those 3 games, thinking we needed to be 3-0 was kind of an unsettling thing going into the season. So, to go into last week's game 3-0 was, couldn't ask for anything better.
Things are not going to get easier either down the road, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Rustburg is the opponent this week, and you have to travel down to their place. They're coming off a heartbreaker in double OT, I believe, at EC Glass. What impresses you about Rustburg?
Coach DeWin does a great job with those guys there, and they've really found their niche with that offense. And having a quarterback that's been in the system for a long time, they're gonna do their thing. They're gonna do it well. And our kids know that we're in for a battle, and we've got to be disciplined with football and make sure that we don't give them the extra possessions like we did last week.
How much of a variety do you feel there is in the Seminole in terms of if you prepare for, the spread attack of Heritage, does that prepare you for other teams, or is everybody kind of like a snowflake to where they're different?
I think it's more of a snowflake type. I mean, there's a lot of different variations of the spread offense. What Heritage does is not really similar to what Rustburg does, and what Rustburg does is not really similar to what Brookville does, and so on. I think the 2 that are most alike would be Rustburg and EC Glass. But they still have variations that are not the same. So I think the odd man out of the whole group, I believe, would be us with our offense. Amherst is now on the spread as well. Haven't had really much chance to see them on film yet since we played them last game of the year. But we also play Harrisonburg game 9 in their spread. So we're going to get our fill of the spread offense before the year's over with.
Who's impressed you from your group so far this season, individually speaking?
Our defense as a whole has impressed me because last year we didn't do a very good job on defense. We didn't tackle well, but we made up for that by not covering anybody. So, this year as a group, our linebackers are learning. We're still young at linebacker, except our middle backer is a senior, but the other guys are young. And, they're much more disciplined this year. We're getting off the ball a lot better up front, covering better. We're tackling. That's the main thing. So those guys have impressed me. And on the offensive side, it's game to game. And Matthew Smith's had a lot of yardage as a sophomore, but he's still got a lot of learning to do ahead of him. We got freshman Devin Carper. We had a really big night, Friday night, running fullback and tailback as well. So our offensive line has done a much better job this year. So it's pleasing to see things going in the right direction.
3 keys to beating Rustburg on Friday night: offense, defense, special teams. What do you have for me?
Obviously, hold on to football. We kind of got back to what we've done in the past, and that's what worked well for us Friday night. But we found a way to put the ball on the ground one way or the other. So offense, we got to hold on to football. Defense, same as it's been the last 2 weeks. We got to tackle. When we tackle well, we're going to be okay. And special teams, we're working on our kicking game right now. We made our extra points the other night. So to continue to improve in the kicking game, that would be the thing.
Best of luck against the Red Devils, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.